There's going to be lots of different ways for PvP players to have a lot of fun in Rift. We have our zone scale invasions, where the Guardians can be off fighting over in their side of the world, and if you're a Defiant, well, you can kind of go on over there and mess with them. And it definitely gives a whole new meaning to dynamic PvP in Rift. Our warfronts work cross-server, so you can get a larger pool of players to be playing from. You don't really have to wait if you want to go in for some PvP action anytime. We've got one of them called the Battle of Port Sion.
This is a really interesting warfront from my perspective because not only are you fighting other players, but you're also doing PvE objectives. You're fighting members of the Endless Court. You're completing quests to launch your own invasion, so I think it has a lot of potential for players that enjoy PvP and PvE.
Favor is a form of currency that players will earn as they PvP from level 10 on. At 50, the whole game changes. You start getting prestige. Prestige is basically your PvP level. The higher your prestige, the better armor you can wear, and the more points you can spend in your PvP soul. For warriors in particular, they have the Vindicator Soul. They can reduce the damage that other players do against their allies, or they can use an ability called Under Strain, which allows them to teleport to their target anytime they're controlled.
I think the hardcore PvP players are really going to get into Rift. Do you know what's great about PvP? PvP is truly dynamic, because players are the most dangerous game.
I cannot believe you guys wrote that.
The biggest thing is that Rift is very solid. The first thing I noticed about Rift when I signed in was that everything just worked. And it was not just working, but taking the little annoyances of every other MMO I've ever played and fixing them.
It was just wonderful, and it just really feels like that thing that I've been looking at. Everything I've been hearing is not just someone saying something, it's real. It's here.
Rift is the complete next generation in online gaming. Complete means polished at launch, with everything you expect from a AAA world-class MMO. Next generation means an MMO that will advance the genre the day it ships.
This empty spot that would otherwise be nothing is now the most important spot on the map, if only for a few minutes. Sometimes a few hours, sometimes probably a few days.
If you're looking for the next generation and fully realized MMOs, then get ready for Rift. Rift is a truly dynamic game. Portals from the elemental planes can open anywhere at any time.
You're like, whoa, what was that? It just really pulls you in.
I saw it and I was like, wow, that's neat. You know, because I'd never seen anything like that before, and I just went right to it.
Left unchecked, rifts will establish footholds and launch invasions.
When the invasions start, I had one open up right on top of me, and that was rather abrupt. I ended up running for my life.
Plane-touched generals lead invasions across the land, forcing you to contend with a ferocious, ever-changing battlefield. Not an amusement park ride that resets when the next player takes a quest. You could log off for lunch in a peaceful village and return to a surreal nightmare of interplanar war. Rift offers a world of constant conflict. Invasions will attempt to destroy anything in their path, including each other.
The fact that every enemy faction is an actual enemy faction, it's not just some mobs. It sounds simple. Seeing it in practice is really interesting.
Rifts give you so many choices. If PvP is your thing, open a rift in enemy territory, then stand back and watch the carnage. Or slice the other faction up on your own in warfronts. Rift's class system allows you to save up to 4 unique builds, so you can play any way you want.
I think that's one of the shining things with Rift, because you can have 4 different multi-spec, kind of, I guess that's what we're calling them, and you can switch your specs and your souls 4 different ways. So you can have up to 3 souls, and then you can have up to 4 different combinations of 3 different souls. I mean, I'm not going to do the math, but that's a lot of different combinations of different souls you can have in different skills.
Rift lets you create any class you can imagine. Maybe you want a classic berserker, a mage who steals life from enemies to heal allies, or a teleporting sniper. Rift is a revolutionary, dangerous new world. It's the MMO with everything you want, taken to the next level.
Everything about it is epic.
Get ready for Rift. Register for beta now at riftgame.com.
The approach to the score in Rift is quite unique. My name is Yannis Brown. I am the audio director on Rift Plains of Telara. With Rift, we looked for someone who was a traditional composer as well as being able to compose outside of the box.
My name is Inan Zur. I'm composing the music for Rift.
We were looking for someone who could bring something unique to the table, who had worked on previous fantasy titles as well.
For me as a composer, the most important thing is what the player should feel. In Rift, there is a lot of different types of cues. We could talk about settings, like Steelmoor, like Scarlet Gorge, like other places where you need to do a few things, but the music is actually being influenced more of the location. In the other type of music, you're describing more of your identity. Are you a defiant? Are you a guardian? Rather than atmosphere. We look at the Guardian as more of the pure soul, and this is the way we wrote the music for it. It has choir, it has a lot of pure orchestral elements. The Defiant is technically oriented, so with the Defiant themes there is more of sound designs, electronic sounds, and it's a little bit, I'd say, darker than the Guardian.
We have one composer kind of scoring the world, And the rifts are an invasion into our world, so we wanted to have a different style of music to represent the rifts and provide that kind of invasion from an audio standpoint.
I'm Rob King. I'm a composer and sound designer.
And I'm Paul Anthony Romero. I am a classical composer and a classical pianist.
Let's see, this game is a little bit different. This is the first time we've done multi-track layering. So there's specific layers depending on the complexity of the battle scene that's happening. The rift themes, they're all done as multi-tracks. So let's say if a few of the minions are there, you might get one layer. And then if the battle gets more intense, we add a second layer of horns and string parts, and a third layer might come in with a vocal and bigger brass sections.
It's very different because it's these beautiful fragments that come and go that are also multi-layered. So they have to sound good stripped away, then they have to sound good with a couple things on top of it, and they have to still sound really good with, you know, 5 or 6 things layered on top of that.
For every game, but specifically for this game, I feel that more than composing, I'm collaborating. It's very challenging because in many other cases, I'm used to work almost alone. But in the case of Talara, I don't think that there was any other way to do it.
In life, some of us were truly heroes. Others were butchers, marauders, nightmares. Now, in Talara's darkest hour, we are reborn. Chosen by the gods for a chance to atone. To ascend, not for our virtue, but for our might, our brilliance, our ruthlessness. Only we can save Talara. Not Regulos himself will stand in our way. We are the chosen. We are the Guardian.